Hello, guys, and welcome back to season 2 of the Figure Forecast podcast. It is your host, Maeve, and my poor sick co host, Scarlett.
Hello.
This week, we have the lovely Hannah Mitchell, who is a natural figure competitor, runs Posing with Hannah, and also runs the Lifting Limits podcast. She's coming on to chat about her journey, her shows, her plans, and all of the wonderful bodybuilding things that we get up to. Hannah, hello, and thank you for coming on. Would you like to intro yourself, tell everyone who you are, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me on. Honestly, it's a real pleasure, an honor actually to be on this. Really excited to dive straight in. But a little intro to me without, I mean, going off onto a monologue. Been competing now since 2019, just going into my third season. So, and I'll be going into, I've got three more shows this season ish, potentially four, depends, doesn't it? And yeah, so other than that, my background actually is in cancer pharmacology. That's was where I used to work in diagnostics for 4 years for multiple myeloma, and then I started taking Posing with Hannah full time. So that only happened 5-6 weeks ago, I believe.
Exciting.
So yeah, it's been incredible. It's been absolutely amazing. And yeah, I'm just enjoying every minute. Prep's been different this time round for sure. Um, as you may have seen, I entered a category and then got told that I'm ready for another category, which is obviously quite exciting within the natural world anyway. So I'll be had to change pretty much all my plans for the upcoming shows, but I'm ready. It should be good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the next couple of weeks.
What was the original plan, and what? Yeah, what's going on there?
So basically, without going into it too much, like my last season, 2021, I entered a category within the natural federations called women's physique. The reason why I point out it being natural, because obviously they're worlds apart, right? Um, I entered women's physique and I placed last and got told that I'd be perfect for figure. So this time round, I entered figure. I then placed fifth, and I got told that my structure, like the level of tissue that I've managed to build and retain, that I'm actually ready to go into women's physique, which has been my goal for since 2019. It has, but I just didn't realize or didn't think that I was ready for that yet. Because 2019, I was just basically inside out peeled with no muscle whatsoever. So it's just been a bit of a roller coaster over those past, oh my god, 4 years, um trying to find where I fit. And after the show 2 weeks ago, finally, so 4 years later, finally got the confirmation of like where I am going to fit. So yeah, it's going to be quite exciting.
Okay.
So what would you say, like, in terms of like your off season from that show where you were literally like inside out peeled and being like, right, okay, this is what I need to do. Like, how did that look? Because obviously with like being natural and stuff, you have obviously had to have been very much more regimented and with food going up higher and stuff. Obviously I've followed you and known you for ages, so I know what you do. But like, tell everyone kind of how that's been like over the past off season.
Yeah, so from that 2019, I was with a different coach and he took me down like way too far. So I ended up being on stage at 51 kilo. I'm 5'8", which doesn't sound too bad. I mean, your face said it all, but I'm currently now 62 kilo.
Yeah.
So that says a lot.
That's more like
So
it.
following that 2019, coming out of that season, which again was a different coach, and I was dieting in prep from January 1st through till 28th of October. So again, not a good approach. I obviously had a lot of issues off the back of that prep coming out of it, a relationship with food, with relationship with myself. But I think the one thing that I did take from it was I stood on stage for PCA in an athletic figure lineup with women that I'd literally looked up to for this whole time, like, how the fuck am I here kind of vibe. Because as I mentioned just before we started this podcast, that season I thought I was going to be in junior bikini. So to go from junior bikini to tone figure to athletic figure to be on stage with those girls, it just blew my mind. However, it was extremely obvious that I just didn't have that tissue. 51 kilo, of course you don't. What is that? Just bone and organs. So I knew I needed to grow, and I was really looking forward to that. So I joined then Cuba in, I want to say, the March following, so March 2020, and been with him since. And from that point, we did not do a single diet phase until the following prep, because, well, we did a little tidy up when I first met him, when I first joined, because I was in a very, very bad body composition from overeating, undereating, not knowing what the hell to do. But through that, we pushed up all the way. So from 51 kilo, my first push up, I went to 77 kilo.
Fuck.
It gets better. Just wait. It gets so much better. Then my next prep, the last or lowest prep weight that I got to was 57. So going from 2019 stage weight of 51, 2021 stage weight to 57, my off season following that, I pushed to 83 kilo. So that was like 4,200 calories training day, 2 off-plan meals a week, live, laugh, loving, live, laugh, lift. Again, I didn't do a diet phase for a whole 12 months, like at all, because obviously I'd come out of that prep with Cuba, so I was in a very good headspace. So we pushed from that October 2021 all the way to October 2022. Like not a single mini cut, did a mini cut, came down, and then pushed slightly up again until starting prep. April just gone. And here we are. And I'm currently now, 62 kilo. And I stepped on stage. Actually, I think I stepped on stage around 63 2 weeks ago. So
that's unbelievable. Like that's
big changes.
Yeah. But I think, you know what, even for non-competitive people who are listening to this, who are obviously not assisted, I think it's going to be a really good lesson to them to realize what you actually need to do to build muscle.
Yeah.
Like,
And the
it's not an
time as well.
8-week
And the time.
bodybuilder, you know, it, like you really did go all in on it. And yeah, I think
I
that's
think
One thing I wanted to, sorry, one thing I wanted to just pick from that whilst it's still in my brain, was obviously you said like your relationship with your body and food, like off the back of the first prep was really damaged. Like, how did you find then pushing your body weight up after having bad relationships with food? Did you feel like that helped a lot to be able to do that, to take away that restriction, or did you find that you had struggles in that area as well? Because I know that a lot of people are scared to increase food, but that is what is needed to then kind of break that sort of cycle of,
no, 100%. I think food is one of the most underrated things And I know people will talk about the basics, right? But when I say to you, when I started prioritizing literally food and sleep as the core things, then that's when I started to see, obviously, training on top of that and intensity and improving my training, of course. But yeah, my starting with Cuba in that March time, I actually had issues with binge purging throughout that period. And when I had like my consult with him, so to speak, he basically said, because I couldn't pay him that month either. And I was like, oh, can we start in April? Because I don't have the money. And he was like, no, we're starting now. Just don't care. I don't care about the money. Start now, because I want you to be getting into a better relationship with yourself and headspace. And that is the one thing that I will just never be able to thank him for enough, right? So off the back of that, I think for me, having so much respect for that person then, being able to listen to me and see that I've got that potential and wanting to help. And I just put all my trust in him from that kind of moment. So I think having a coach that you do have such kind of high respect for and trust for is one of the key things within that process. And then pushing up my body weight to that extent and to those calories is the best thing I have ever done, because it showed that I had no restriction. Like, it showed that also the difference and respect that I had for everything else that I bring to the table. Like, my body is one aspect of me. My physical looks is one aspect of me. When I started to heal my relationship with who I was and not care about that physical side of things as much, again, that's when I started to just like heal as a person and understood that I like deserved to eat, like I deserved to train, and that a body weight I just didn't care about. And then it just started to become just data. Like, even now, if my weight stalls a little bit in prep, like I still don't really care. Like, I usually have to, if someone's like, oh, what's your weight at? I usually have to check, like, because it's just not something that I'm focused on. It's just because I know that I'm literally doing whichever phase I'm in, I'm doing exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I think putting your focus in that is what's important, instead of constantly like being on that number. And because obviously when I do speak to people about me being 83, that's when people are like, wait, what? Like 83 kilo. A guy that I'm dating at the minute, he's currently 83 kilo.
But I think I remember as well. Like when we trained legs, didn't we? Like both in off season. I'm sure we were both like
mini cutting,
like,
I swear.
Yeah, we were like,
I was smashed.
But you still like look great, whereas like I was like an absolute like, but that's one thing. That's one thing I've always like really appreciated with you is how you always talk about everything else apart from just the looks, because I think bodybuilding can be quite damaging in that aspect if you let it, but because you're judged on how you look. But like you said, like it's everything else that goes into it, and like, I think that comes across a lot with you and the way that you are like on socials and stuff as well, which is showing.
I think it's important for people to see bodybuilding and understand that, yes, you're being judged by how you look, but you're being judged by how you look in that 10 minutes you're on stage. Not even when you're off stage that day, not even the day before, not the week before. Like, you are literally being judged within that 10 minutes. So if you're putting your whole kind of self-worth within those 10 minutes, you're never going to hold yourself to like a high enough regard, especially when it is so subjective. So, you could have 10 judges and you could have someone. This is what's happened actually within my last season in 2021, I had one judge say that they put me in first, and then another judge put me as last. That wasn't out of 2 people. That was out of a lineup of 10,
What?
right? So that's how subjective it was, is because basically I bring a level of condition that's not always liked within the natural figure side of things.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why I've been almost teetering on different categories over the past 4 years. And I've struggled to find my fit. And I think, you know, me struggling to find that fit has been so beneficial in that worth, in knowing that, oh, yes, that person maybe doesn't like my physique, or that person maybe really does, but I know that I can't bring any better here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So being almost not winning has allowed me to see that so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you said about with the scales, like that's probably one of the biggest kind of struggles for a lot of girls, like competitors or not. And I think, yeah, just what you said about reframing how you view it and like just looking at it as data, it really does help take the emotion away.
Yeah. I think within bodybuilding as well, we over time and through, I don't want it to sound like, oh, I know everything, I've only been doing it 4 years. Like, that's really not a long time in the grand scheme of things, right? But at the same time, I've been in the gym 11 years. So it's not that I just found the gym and then started competing. Like, I've loved training this whole time, and I think my focus is and always will be my training. And again, I think switching the mindset through to that, wanting to be strong and wanting to progress there, is something that has really helped me to not necessarily focus on even a placing, let alone a scale weight, because again, a placing is just a number.
Yeah.
So
For sure. With all of the different federations and different categories, and you know, like you've kind of like, you know, poked your finger into a lot of pies. So what give us a kind of rundown there, like the different categories, different federations, how
yeah.
I don't know, maybe how you prefer different ones or the differences between them.
Yeah, so within, we've got obviously the tested and untested feds. So my first season, I didn't even know. This is how little I knew about bodybuilding. My first prep was 6 weeks, by the way. Like, as in from the minute that I was told, oh, you should prep, I was on stage 6 weeks later. I knew nothing, right? And my whole first season was untested feds, because again, I didn't know anything about natural bodybuilding. So I did a show within PCA. So this was where I did toned figure, and going into a toned figure assisted category, they still want to see a good amount of tissue there, but it's a smaller frame. They don't want to see too much mass, right? I try and like discuss it or describe it is, imagine you've got a light shining on you, and you can see a shadow, and it's the silhouette there. That's what they're looking for, like a beautiful feminine silhouette. That's kind of the toned figure vibe. They don't really want to see like feathers, striations at all. However, the not issue, but where the complication does come within toned and athletic figure, it's so dependent on that lineup of the day. Because say if there's 10 girls that all come in soft, and you come in the same as a girl that won last week, then you're going to look out of place and you're probably not going to place. Whereas if everyone's on your kind of level of conditioning, then you can win, right? So this is where it is quite tricky to find your place within that. When I did get moved to athletic, obviously it's because I did then continue to diet from that June when I stepped on stage in toned all the way through to that October, November time. So I'd lost a substantial amount again. So my condition had massively like improved. I don't even want to call it improved, because
Yeah.
it's not.
Common mode was activated, yeah.
The condition was there. So there's no way I could have stepped on stage in toned figure. So the athletic figure is where they would look for the condition with the increased muscle, the increased
Would you
muscle
say-
maturity as well.
Would you say as well that from when you first did it to now, the difference is the standard of size has changed?
Yeah, massively. Like even in these 4 years, yes, I know that I'm now more involved within bodybuilding. So it's funny, isn't it? Because when you first start in bodybuilding, you feel like, oh my God, I'm like the only one that does this. Like I'm like the 1%. Like you come to work and everyone's taking the piss out of your lunch bag, and you're like, oh, yeah, I know, I'm so random. And then you're in the bodybuilding kind of circle, or you're in the bodybuilding world, and you're like, Jesus Christ, every person, I almost said something else, everyone is
It's all right, you can swear on this podcast.
You can swear on this podcast, it's okay.
yes, every cunt is a
That's
so
first.
yeah. When it comes to your like who you're around, obviously there's just different levels. So in 2019, it's almost, I don't want to say that's not a fair view, but I just didn't see everything
Naive
because
view.
naive. Yeah, perfect description there. Whereas now, obviously, I see the levels to it, the levels to all of it. But over the years, what has been unreal has been, like you say, the level of just complete level of athlete has massively developed, level of size, condition, the level of education is just outrageously improved, which is good in one sense, but can obviously hinder those coming into the sport now, because I feel like everyone wants to have all that information right now. So I'm kind of glad that 11 years ago, I was literally doing squats that were breaking my back, because I learned through time, over time. Right? And I prefer it kind of in that organic sense. So, but yes, now seeing the level, even I feel the natural world, this season is blowing my mind. It just seems to have, I want to say come out of nowhere, but obviously that's not the case, because they must have been training for like 10 years, right? To be able to bring that level of like maturity into their tissue. But yeah, over the past 4 years, it's complete new levels, but it's very exciting to see. Even in the big range, right? Even at the pro shows.
Oh, crazy. Like the girls have just exploded. And I genuinely thought with wellness coming in and bodybuilding coming back that people would just, move into where they felt a little bit better, but nope, they just kept getting bigger. And I was like, oh.
Getting bigger. Thing is, I'm so here for it though. Like I do understand, and I find it so interesting when they do discuss, what they're looking for, and at the end of the day, they're the judges. And when they do say, that this is getting too big, or like they're going to be moving X, Y, Z, but I do love a mass monster. I'm just like, yeah, just get massive. Just
everyone loves a freak.
Everyone loves a freak.
But no, like you say, even though bodybuilding has come in, I think sometimes we can just be continually chasing that progression that you do sometimes have to make the decision whether you're going to be chasing the criteria and the category, or just chasing the love of it. I'm definitely someone, I don't think I'd ever amend something to hit criteria and category. And I think that's why, yes, it's taken me 4 years to find more of my footing, but I'm fine with that. I could have, in maybe 2021, I could have amended the look and my training and things like that in order to suit the category and win more shows, etc. But I didn't want to. I don't want to. So I'll always just like continue what I love to do. And if I fit somewhere, fantastic. But if I don't, oh well. I'll just try and get massive.
When you say like amending your training or whatever to suit the category versus enjoyment, like what would you say that you're doing that isn't, like matched up with the like fit category goal?
So I guess my training in particular wouldn't necessarily be different. However, when you see bikini girls that are never allowed to do a back day, never allowed to do an upper day, like literally maybe doing 4 leg days a week. Like I personally, not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm really not. But like I said, you have to kind of make that decision whether you would want to do one or the other. Because I look at myself and if I wanted to, I could probably do all right in 2 bros bikini if I'd trained glutes a hell of a lot more over the past off season, because I do have very long limbs and I have a flow to my physique that could suit it extremely well, like good delt caps, etc. But the glutes are just 1,000% not there. But for me to then go into that, I don't want to do glutes that amount of time. So I'll just stay bigger and see what, and just look like a stringy piece of piss.
You don't at all. No, but I 100% get what you mean. Like because I used to do bikini, and when I got to start training for figure, it was just like, oh, like this is it. Like this is
That's
what I
it.
love doing. Yeah, and just going fucking at it, and yeah, just
But
went.
I've actually said, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I'm not wishing away my prep in the slightest, but I am so excited for off season already. I know that sounds so messed up because I think a lot of people do really idolize prep. Like they
Yeah.
put prep on this like pedestal, which I do really do like enjoy that process and that challenge. But for me, I think again the reason why I've never done back-to-back seasons and things, why I do spend so long in an off season and push so high with body weight, all of the above, I want to just get so strong. I can't wait to just go give myself an aneurysm and do some deadlifts.
Yeah, the tension
That's
headache.
it though, because like
do it.
as well, like on the back end, like when you're in the tail end of a prep, especially like you as well being natural. I'm gonna play the natty card for you.
So
like feeling like you can't push yourself in your training, and it feeling like shit is the worst when training is your top priority, like, and what you love to do. And that is the worst part about prep, I think, like just how dog shit training is towards the end.
because one of my friends has done multiple preps naturally and then also now multiple preps assisted, and sometimes we do forget how being natural would feel, right? And she went to me, she was like, honestly, I feel like absolute shit right now. But then I just think how shit I felt when I was natural. And I was like, right, yeah. So because at the end of the day, like, yes, like PD is like performance enhancers. So imagine your performance when it's not enhanced. It is pretty damn hard when your training is your love. The biggest difference for me this prep, and I don't want to say I don't know why, because I've been so focused on my training this off season, but I haven't lost much weight and rep within my training. I'm in week 24 of a deficit. I just told you I'm on like barely any food. And the fact that my weights are still pretty okay. I'm still doing, and you know me, Scarlett, like my form, I do not let slip. So that's not the fact that, oh yeah, I haven't let my weights and reps drop, but I'm swinging shit around. No, it's because I've really managed to, over that off season, over the first X weeks into prep, really maintained my control and my core, my brace, all of the above, like all my contact points within my lifts, and I haven't let that slip. So even, yes, on the days that I may have like lower energy and things, I'm still managing to pretty much lift the same weights. Obviously, there's been a few sessions, even my session yesterday, who am I? Yesterday, I was like a couple of reps down on my main lifts, but that's a low incline Smith press and a neutral shoulder press. Look at me, of course that's going to be down, like stability is going to be down. So it's taking that within my stride. I haven't let my training necessarily affect my mood in the rest of my session either. And it's meant then, because my mood has been like, my love for the training has still carried on, the rest of my session I've still really enjoyed. And I end up usually going into my session thinking, Jesus, don't know if I can do this, and then leaving my session, bopping around, getting some extra steps because I'm doing a little whine, and then being able to leave the gym in a great mood. I mean, don't get me wrong, I then crash, but I have a good half hour.
Would you say that's come from like a mindset perspective then? That's changed?
Massively, yeah. Mindset and the training, education and experience. Obviously can't just say it's a mindset thing, because like there are days that I have gone in. I mean, I trained legs a couple of days ago and I did cry. And I know we can laugh about it, can't we? But like, how that feels in those sessions. You're literally like, I've got nothing. Like Ian Beale moment, I've got nothing left.
That's just me on a daily basis right now.
Whereas going into like, I think because I don't then carry that into that following session, literally blasting Sean Paul, I just go in and do enjoy my sessions. And I think because of that enjoyment, taking that pressure off myself, I think that has allowed me to also maintain my lifts, weirdly. But yeah, obviously it has been a lot of down to control. And what I mean by that is the difference in my training from 21 to now, like right at that bottom of the rep, right? Instead of me going whoop to then come back up just to get that rep, because I've taken that sense of, no, I need to get this rep from it. I'm like, I'm going to take this set as far as possible. So with that, I'm obviously going to just take that stimulation as far as possible. So I've took, again, that number is completely gone out my head and I'm just focusing on the exact feel. And that is just allow me to just keep driving through instead of trying to bounce through everything. Because my tendons right now, I have no synovial fluid on these knees. Like there's nothing there. So, I think that when you start bouncing in your reps to try and get that rep, you end up selling yourself short because you've got nothing to bounce on. Your tendons are crying. So
And you are.
it's definitely a combination of the mindset of pure enjoyment for it and utilizing that period of time, that hour or however long you have in the gym. Let's be honest, it's like 2 and a bit. However,
5 hours.
However long that you are there, using that time of like, this is what I love to do. This is why I'm doing this. So why am I going to go to the gym and try and make this a time where I'm going to be sad? Nah, man, let's enjoy this 2 hours. Let's yes, later after you're probably going to cry on the settee for a little bit, but let's enjoy this because you've been looking forward to this since yesterday, right? So yeah, that definitely helps going forwards with this prep, I'd say.
I love that.
And trying to obviously hold on to some tissue.
What's your next show and what's the plans there?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad because we already spoke about this is going to be released in a bit of time, so I can actually discuss it. So my last show 2 weeks ago was the UKDFBA, and that's where I entered figure, got moved to physique. So going forward with that, I had another natural federation planned called WMBF. You're gonna have to excuse me. I don't know if you can hear my stomach. It's literally rumbled about 6 times. I actually think I'll be able to cut that out.
I thought it was mine.
Just stopped getting attention. So that WMBF, I was planning on doing figure, but now I'm going to enter fit body. So fit body is basically women's physique.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be entering that. That's the 22nd of October. So that means that all plans have kind of changed going forwards, because obviously I need to now bring that condition that I know I can, but yeah, when plans change, obviously it's a little bit up in the air. But my actual next show is in 4 days. So I'm actually going to be stepping on the NPC stage for the first time. I'm going to be doing the Race Rumble, which, yeah, I'm really looking forward to, because for me, Two Bros, figure Two Bros is so beautiful. I could watch it all day. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful category that there is, just because, like we discussed just before the podcast started, like, it's not necessarily a size game here. It's about that, like, femininity, the shape, the flow, how you walk across that stage and how you present yourself. So I understand I'm going to be stepping on stage with some absolutely incredible women, but I'm really excited to bring me to that stage, like showcase what I can bring to that. So being, yeah, maybe not as lean as we would be if I'd planned this. Maybe, obviously I had planned this show from the get-go, but if this was a main show, that maybe we could have come in a little bit better, a little bit tighter. But regardless, I'm really excited to bring what I can, and stand up against some really incredible women, and finally, yeah, do NPC and Two Bros, and see how I do stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it
That's
off.
coming up.
I think
Yeah.
it'll be good. I said I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. Question, curiosity. So obviously with you competing in different federations, PCA, now obviously NPC, obviously we all know they're untested federations. So what for you has made you kind of like stick to your guns and just want to continue competing as a natural athlete?
You know what? I joke about it all the time. Like, I'm always like, oh, just pass the primo. Like, I am just
Primo
I think
party.
literally, because obviously I would actually say 80% of my friends were assisted, right? 80% of my bodybuilder friends,
Yeah.
not just friends. Got my mom in it, it's fine. No, but so it's not that I'm scared to go assisted. It's not that it's not that I'm morally against it in the slightest. I think it's always something that I'm never gonna say never, because I don't know. I'm definitely someone that my views have changed about so many things over the past couple of years. I've changed so much over the past couple of years. So I just don't know if that's going to be in my future. However, right now, I don't feel the need. And what I mean by that is how I've managed to progress through the past 4 years. This is only my 3rd season, and I am so proud of what I have managed to achieve within that. No, I don't mean achieve through placings. I got the WMBF British title last season, but even if I don't place any higher than what I've done this season, so what, 4th? in physique like 2 weeks ago. Even if I don't place any higher than that, what I have managed to bring since 2021, I can't believe it. I'm so proud of what I've managed to do in that time. So I think I just don't see the need at the minute. I think if I did an off season, came back, and I was like, "Fuck, is that it?" And I know,
Yeah.
and I know that in that off season that I really had done everything, because I think that's the one thing that does sometimes upset me when people haven't done an off season. They've gone. We call an off season maybe the wrong term, because it's an improvement phase, isn't it? Off season makes it sound like you just don't do anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
That's
when
where you do everything.
when people have that off season and they go off and they don't do anything, then they come back and they do look the same, so then they go assisted. That
Yeah.
then does upset me, because I just always think like, well, that was your doing. That was down to
Yeah.
the fact that you didn't put that time, energy, effort into it. And I think the other reason that sometimes people maybe go assisted for, like, not the wrong reason, but when maybe even a first prep and they go on fat burners or like the assistance within the fat loss,
Yeah.
but they haven't even tried
Yeah.
to
To
push
out.
that fat loss first. I know that genetically I am someone that is predisposition to maybe lose weight better. Okay, like because I obviously see a lot of friends that would be eating dust, like doing so much cardio, and they just aren't losing weight.
Yeah.
I
Holla.
don't know if people would be watching or would they be listening, because they wouldn't have seen that.
No.
So like I do know that is a thing, and then that is where resistance obviously comes into play. But when people just go straight on to say Clen T3 T4, but usually it is under the guidance of like a coach, or the lack of education from a coach, and they don't understand. Unfortunately, I've had so many ladies come to me for their posing, and they're like, yeah, I want to do a natural federation. I'm like, okay, fantastic. Just to clarify, that means, because I have to say this, just to clarify, that means you haven't taken XYZ. And they're like, oh no, I have. I didn't know that was assisted. And I'm like,
Well, it's a help. So it's an assistance.
but their coach hasn't told them. So their coach has just given it to them, and they didn't know. And so it's such a shame, because I think then people then don't have a choice, because they have to go down the assisted route, because they're like, well, if I can't compete in natural federations now, I've got to stand with the big boys. So here we go. So I think for me right now, I think I'm very happy with what I've managed to achieve within my progress. I think one little cycle could be fun.
Go to the dark side. I think you're so right, though, because there are so many people that you see that are training like a wet week, and like they really haven't spent time developing their physique, or really haven't done a proper structured growth phase yet.
A wet week, I think she said.
A wet week, yeah. Training the wet week. Is that an Irish thing?
I've never heard that before.
You what?
You what?
But yeah, you do see it all the time, and it's just such a fucking waste, because you just haven't tapped into any of your natural potential yet. Like,
Not at all. Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is, like, when you do say a prep, one prep at least, naturally, you do really see the power through what I said right at the beginning of the podcast. You see the power in your sleep and your nutrition, and how important it is to really nail those things. And then I think it's almost like that kind of pyramid thing, where you've got those basics at the bottom, and then the top bit, and then right at the top would be like that assistance, right? But you need to be nailing all those other things before you even look at that. It's like when people say, like, oh, what's the best supplement for this? I'm like, no, like, digestion is probably one of the biggest things that upsets me. Oh, what's the best? Yeah, what's the best Yeah. What's the best supplement for digestion? Well, maybe stop having sweeteners with every meal and your baking powder and your
5
like
energy drinks.
yeah, 5 energy
Protein bars,
drinks.
yeah.
Maybe stop having Perform Whey. Like use whole foods. Like if you're looking at all
Have a
those things,
vegetable.
have a vegetable.
Have some egg
Yeah,
whites.
like all little things like that. I
Yeah.
think having a natural prep really does make you just understand how
Yeah.
important they are. And then when you see like an athlete that has done that for a good amount of years, when they then go assisted,
Boom.
oh my God, boom. And that is when you see how much it just translates.
Yeah.
There's two guys that just always blow my mind. And I don't know his surname. He's called like Lewis Physiques, I think, on Instagram. And then there's a guy called Jack who used to be coached by like AJ. And those two guys are like almost the epitome of that story there, where they were natural for quite a few years and they really like rinsed that process, and then they went assisted, and now the physiques that they're bringing is just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you don't
So I think
spend
I want to rinse this for a bit.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And that's important. Like, even if you're not competing, like, so as you said, like, what's the best supplement for this? Or, you know, like, what can I buy? Like, what's the next best workout? And like, just learn to train properly, eat properly, recover properly, and then worry about the rest.
That's it. I think I've been on the same training program for like
Yeah.
37 weeks
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't need to
Yeah.
change. I'm still feeling absolutely ruined.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's always one that gets me though. Like when people are like, "Oh, when can my plan change?" And it's like, you got it 3 weeks ago. Like what?
Yeah, I think if anyone takes anything from this like little ramble, it's like giving yourself the time, right? Like allowing yourself to just really put your absolute all in for like a year,
Yeah,
a full year of eating, a full year of training hard, and only then think about like adding anything else on top.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, we have a question we ask everyone, but we'll slightly change it to it because I know you're coming into a show. So we ask everybody what their death row meal is, but a
Oh,
post-show meal is just as good, in my opinion. So what are you getting? Give it to us.
you know what? I actually spoke about this on my stories the other day. I've been so weird this prep until I'd say the past 2 days.
Yeah.
Sorry, just breaking from the primo there. From the past 2 days, my food focus hasn't really been there,
Mm.
which weird. However, it's definitely coming back. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely coming in. So yeah, past 2 days I've been having a little Google of what's near my shows, things like that. But the only things that I've bought so far are sauces, right? So are you ready for this? I've bought honey barbecue sauce,
Oh.
sweet chili jam from Nando's,
Oh, that's so
and
good.
jerk chicken. No, barbecue
Mm,
like jerk sauce, right? Those 3.
Mm.
I'm literally dribbling thinking about
yeah.
it. With regards to like a meal that I want right now, honestly, like a big like either you're gonna probably be like, you can tell you're Cuba's client. Either
Yeah.
like so much sushi, right?
Sushi,
But
yeah. That was good.
I'm on about the bougie sushi, like not just
Yeah.
like I'm on about the proper like
Like a poke
lashing.
bowl.
Yeah, like proper like avo everywhere, like just
Mm.
so much. But for me, it is definitely about flavor. So like even Wagamama's kind of vibes, like Thai. Like I'm just someone that
Yeah.
loves like teriyaki
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, back to the actual question. Do I get 3 courses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can. The limit does not exist.
These 3 sauces are not gonna mix, right? They're just what I want for each because
Yeah.
it's what nachos, like
Yes.
a big fuck off bowl of nachos with so much sauce and cheese. I think Scarlett's just died. Um,
Yeah, but
and
too
and also,
good.
yeah, and also like a side of like sticky chicken bites, right?
Mm.
And then yeah, main would be like one of those big sushi boats
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that come
Yeah.
in.
We actually
Um,
went for one of them with it was me, Jade, and Oscar
mm,
in Manchester, and I think it was like 50-piece sushi boat thing,
mhm.
and they were like, "Yes, we'll have 3 of them." They were like, "What?" You know, like, "Yeah, we want one each." I think the woman was like, "Okay."
Was
Ever like
that for
experienced
a
that?
show?
No,
Did you
no,
eat
no.
it?
This was like last year sometime. Well, this
Oh
year
my
sometime.
god, that's so
Yeah,
funny.
off
I love
season.
that. I
Off
love
season.
that so much. Um, yeah, so proper go in there, and then for pudding, I'm an absolute chocolate whore. Like the richer the better kind of vibe. So you know, like a really gooey dark chocolate fudge cake
Mm.
melting.
Yeah, you're speaking
Yeah.
my language. Yeah. Mm.
So yeah,
Delicious.
that would be me. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Sounds
so
epic.
glad I've got a meal after this.
I know, same. Bye.
Yeah, Maeve was starting the podcast munching like
Sorry,
not even
I
she was
was
like,
ruining
"Oh, are you
anything.
hungry?"
Oh, Hannah, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you, how to work with you if you want to do some posing, all of that jazz?
Yeah, of course. I'd absolutely love that. So you can find me on Instagram _Hannah's Health, or my posing page, the posing community of Posing with Hannah. Just got a couple of events actually up your way, Scarlett, coming up in December. So I
Amazing.
can't wait to be able to start traveling the world doing all that again. So keep your peepers peeled.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. This was a really, really great episode. So I know everybody's going to enjoy it and take a lot from it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week, and we will, of course, see you all again next week for another great show.
Bye.
Bye.